Hi Kasper, this is comments, or these are comments for task 4 regarding English. First of all, generally quite a good text, I think. There's good coherence and fluency throughout the text, and your reasoning is quite easy to follow. So that is working very well. Very few grammatical errors that I can find. So that's quite good. There are a couple of things that I'd like you to still work on. If I begin with the tailoring of your language to your reader's needs, the whole sort of communication between you and your imaginary reader. You write quite like sort of an insider. You write as if the reader knows the problem already. This is something you cannot assume from the beginning. Even if you are writing to someone who has a lot of knowledge on this particular topic, you still need to state the problem that you want to be discussing in the text. So be a little bit more specific in the beginning. You begin, I think, quite well within your introduction, sort of in very broad terms, and you narrow it down. When you're at that kind of broad stage in the beginning, state what the problem is. What is it that you want to discuss? Because you're going into a discussion and an assessment of Breitenbauer. So make sure that the reader knows from the top of the text what issues about him and his points of views that you want to be discussing, so that we can sort of, again, create that roadmap and signpost for the reader, as I said in my previous video. So that would be a real improvement to your text and make it even more easy to follow. Also, you tend to sometimes, on a more local level, your sentences seems to also assume the reader has prior knowledge. Be a little bit more specific, elaborate at times a bit more, and always define your purpose. You have several things that you want to do throughout the text, and it kind of just glides from one to another. I would prefer, actually, if you sort of said, okay, I'm now going to do something else, and now I'm going into the discussion, and now I'm going to conclude. So when you signpost, do it in a more obvious way, because it's almost too fluent, if that makes sense. So while fluency is a very good thing, it makes it very easy for me to just read the text without having to stop and go back and try and understand what the connection is. I still need to know, when are we now going to be doing something else? When are we going off in a different direction, etc. So signposting should be more obvious. And that brings me to the phases of writing. There's a video called The Phases of Writing that I've linked for in the plan called English in Helhedsforståelse or something like that. It's in the folder called Plans. There are 3 phases. There's the planning phase, the editing phase, and the proofreading phase. You can address these issues that I'm talking about in the editing phase. It means going away from the text for a while and looking at it again with the reader's eyes, finding out if you are signposting enough, if you've got enough information for the reader to understand your point of view. All of those things happen in the editing. It's something that should be as important and have as much emphasis as the actual writing of the first draft, because the text is never done once you've just written something. You need editing. You can fix all of this with the signposting, etc. in that phase. What you can also look at is your paragraphs, because there are some of them that are a bit hit and miss. Some of them work really well, but if you look at page 2, they are too short, and they should probably be condensed into a fewer paragraphs. It becomes very obvious in part 2. On page 2, whereas on page 1 it's not that much of a problem. So for the future, and when you write Opgave 6 for Alan Shapiro, I would really recommend you to set time aside for editing and be a little more critical of your own text. keeping in mind that you do have a good flow and you do have good coherence. So what you need to do is tweak it so the reader is aware of what's going on, and that you sort of break the text up into its sort of logical parts, not necessarily in terms of layout, but in terms of the language that you use. Anyway, I hope this makes sense. If not, you know how to reach me on email. I'm going to try and be back for the final face-to-face session at Jolstrup. So if you have any questions for me, you can also catch me there. Anyway, that's it for me. Bye.